about school reform. What are the prospects of Unifi-Ed and Chattanooga 2.0 with Jared Bigham having a column in today's paper? What are the prospects of real improvements and real change? The people who are asking this question are people like you, my listener, the man who matters, the woman who matters. And you care about these things, and you have high expectations, and you want improvement. You want there to be equity, as these two groups are saying is necessary. Jared seems to be confessing that he's late on making the argument in that context, which is stirred into the public imagination of Hamilton County by the Obama boosters who are over at Unifi-Ed. Equity sounds good, and you, my listener, think, well, okay, regardless of who these people are, regardless of what April Edson has put on Chattanooga.com about their backgrounds, it does sound right, and it does sound true and good, and we want there to be improvements in our public school. After all, we are paying for them, right? They do belong to us. We not naively think. And so, yes, but you are an exception. You are the man who matters and the woman who matters. You subscribe to Nuganomics.com not to miss anything from my roaring keyboard, and you care. But most people who are the pretended customer of public education, most people really don't care. Even I'd say the parents, some of the parents, well, many of the parents of the best students. Now, there's a feature going on all week in the local newspaper. And of course, I'm wonderfully old-fashioned, and I believe in God, and I also believe in printed news. And so I have in my formerly newsprint ink-stained fingertips the current edition, today's Town Street Press. And on page A4 is the offering of the day of the best students, the valedictorians. Now, their parents care, okay? They supply their children with means, with cars, with encouragement, and maybe even a few books. So some of their houses actually have bookcases, and there is a generally favorable attitude toward good grades and high subjects such as technology and the financial sector. Some houses have the Wall Street Journal lying about on the coffee table. And those students are obviously they're the exception because they're the best, and their families are probably among the best too. But most consumers, most of the pretended clientele of the public school are indifferent, and they've been trained to be indifferent. They've been subsidized to be ones to delegate the important decisions about morals and academics is delegated to the public school. And here you have you might say the middle class, to use the kind of the Marxist phraseology here, the middle class and the working class, perhaps. And the blue collar and the white collar, mid-level people, which is, I would say, the bulk of the consumer, the pretended clientele. And I say pretended clientele of Hamilton County Public Schools because the real clientele is the state. Okay, the real client is the state and the people who are behind the state. And we could say, well, that's the deep state in the educational sector, and it does exist. It is exposed by noted writers probably beginning in the 1970s. And more recently, there's John Taylor Gatto, whose work I highly recommend. He's a Roman Catholic humanist, very hostile to some of my you might say my religious ideas, but nonetheless, I mean, he condemns John Calvin as the originator of public schooling. Well, and Luther, and I say, well, no, there's a big mistake being made here, but nonetheless, I would recommend his work. You can find his whole book, The Underground History of America. I'm sorry, The Underground History. Let me stop mumbling. The Underground History of American Education online, chapter by chapter. And it's remarkable study, and I reread that book. I've marked it. In fact, I took it with me this morning, and after delivering my sister to the airport at 6:00, and over a coffee and a sandwich, I went through some chapters of that volume to kind of you might say steel myself in the vocabulary of our genuine reformer. And the genuine reformer would say that the client of the school system is effectively the industrial and financial classes, their corporations, nonprofits, and charities, and their think tanks and universities. And the fodder with which those people work and apply their behavioral scientific management genius is the student, right? The student body en masse, the future consumers of their products, the people who are going to be consumers and borrowers of their financial and capital creating, capital consuming regimes. And so the state is the client in Hamilton County, and the nominal client, right? The client in name only is the family. So there's this outward story that, of course, is covered by the newspaper, is covered by the TV press and the radio press for lack of anything better to write about, and saving anybody from having to do any real reading on educational topics. So we cover the marketing story projected, if you will, in good faith by all the players here in Hamilton County. And that is that we have a school system, it serves the public interest, it is constitutional, and the moms and dads and the grandparents of many fractured homes are led among African Americans, led by matriarchs and aunt-riarchs, perhaps, grandmothers, grandfathers, and aunts on your mother's side, and of course a lot of moms. And the welfare broken family is clientele too. But again, the heads of household, the ones who have legal authority over these children, who are the wards, they may want the good thing, and they may be church-going Christian people, but they don't know how to really. They don't know what the resources are, and the resources in their minds are completely out of reach. It's untenable to talk about free market economics in their presence because all they have is today, and getting down to the school bus to wait for the children to come home, and hope that the 11-year-old boy who's wanting a cell phone, that he's not thrown into evil circumstances and evil friends when he's gone all the time till dinner at 7. Right? Where is this boy gone? Who are his friends? He's noticed the grandmother's noticing some older boys in the presence of this young child. And who are they? I don't know who those boys are, and I'm concerned. I've heard some bad language among them, and I've even caught my 11-year-old grandson dropping a bomb in the hallway here, taking his shoes off, and I'm concerned. So these are the nominal clients, right? These are, and they can't care about school reform like you do. They just can't. This is David Toulis, and we're here on the David Toulis Show. Now, I have a lot to suggest, but I really would like to hear from you, my listener. What do you know about public school in Hamilton County? You probably have great stories, and I certainly want to hear those. If there are foreign graduates such as Haley Clements in today's editions on page A4, or Caitlin Giltner, we would love to hear from you. There is another listener. I mean, you are my listener, but there is another listener, okay? And talk to me, and that other person will really enjoy what you have to say, whether it's positive or negative. We can make ideas and see main ideas and big ideas in all kinds of news, the good news and the bad news. And I think the theme that I want to look at today is I hope unless we change the topic, thanks to you, the topic on school reform and Unifi-Ed and Chattanooga 2.0. I think that's something worth talking about. And you can change the subject anytime you want, but I want to, if you'll let me, just give me a couple of minutes of your time, right? And at 800-8949, that's 800-8949. Call that number, and I'll put you on. No profanity. Love your neighbor and buy local. That's my scheme and my theme here on the David Toulis Show. The blogger with the biggest pen, that's me at yournews.com. I sponsor Your News, that is to say yournews.com, and subscribe to Nuganomics.com as well. Now, Caitlin Giltner, again, we're talking about the better families where there's real appreciation for knowledge, there's a real appreciation for science and literature. And she says in her answer to the TFP query, she's going to the University of Alabama in Huntsville, and the teacher who inspired me, she says, Mrs. Jennifer Bachman, the chemistry teacher at SAS, inspired me to continue pursuing a career in STEM, science, technology, education, something, and math. Through her love of science and passion for teaching during my 2 years in her class. And just below, Haley Clements was going to UTC, the teacher who inspired me and Hal, Tammy Fleming, because she always has pushed me to be my best in both school and cheerleading. Now, you can smile. Go ahead. That's fine. We have here individuals who, because they're made in God's image, can overcome and prosper even in public school art, even in the mass factory system that we have, which has its secret clientele and its hidden narratives and its hidden policies, and where there are multiple parties strip mining the data from all that digital material among all these students. Despite all that, all right, despite that, we can lay that aside, put that on the table behind us, and we can look at each other, you and me, my listener, and we can say, well, here are people who, by God's grace, have made the most of their schooling, right? They became educated. They were not prevented from becoming educated at school. And you make you say, what, Dave? You sound like you think you're saying something innovative and new. Well, it's not really new to say that, because there is a distinction between schooling and education. But school reform that we've been hearing about in Chattanooga has taken the newsprint quotient, the newsprint percent, up from about 2% to 2.5%. So there's more coverage of it in the past few weeks, and it is focusing on those newcomers, the 4-year-old group Unifi-Ed, run by young progressive Democrats, all Obama types, all Andy Burke types, right? They're humanists, they're progressives, and you could say they're statists. That is to say, they favor the state solutions. Now, as opposed to them, we have on the school board Rhonda Thurman, and the most noted and the most courageous, and really she is the most outstanding school board member. She's the naysayer and the dissenter. She's not given to tomfoolery. She's not susceptible to marketing and pitches. I mean, there are all kinds of pitches that come the way of the school board, and she is not one to suffer fools cheerfully and to just to believe what she's told. She has, in the Tuesday editions of Chattanooga.com, I want you to make sure that you read it, a column, Show Me the Top 5 Inequities in the Hamilton County School. You know, inequity is similar to the word iniquity, but it is a different word. It's a reference to things that are unequal, things that are not right. And she laments she laments her being abused over her rejection of the Apex report, the paper from, it's about a 25-page paper from Unifi-Ed that is about racial and socioeconomic desegregation. Now, those are admittedly code words. You're not told up front what is meant, and that's because these are disciples of euphues, right? They use euphemisms to say one thing and get you to agree, and have you agree sort of unwittingly to something that if you had it properly framed, you might disagree with. It's 800-8949, 800-8949. Now, in her op-ed piece, which is very carefully written and I would say very excellent, there's this observation that I would make, and that is that as a defender of reason and a defender of her constituents in North Hamilton County, Rhonda Thurman is still she is still a patron of the school system, and she still, by being on the board, agrees to accept premises, main ideas of, main defenses of the entire institution from the beginning, right? She has to accept, by being on the board, she has to accept the premise of the organization of which she is a part. She is the public face. She is the political part of the school system, the local control. Again, that too, really, here in Hamilton County and Chattanooga, East Ridge and Red Bank, and all parts around Saudi Daisy, it is a nominal local control. The policy is set elsewhere in Nashville and beyond. It's set by New England think tanks, and control locally is really more form than substance. There is no substantive or even religious or philosophical claims that the board members can make on what is taught, right? The curriculum is already set. It is clearly materialistic, humanistic, and pragmatic. It is a pragmatic and sort of ethics-free, God-free curriculum, and it has to be that way, right? If you have a public institution, we're led to believe you can't have any sectarian claims. There can't be any claims about God, because if you let God in any form, you suddenly have to answer the questions, which one, right? So God has to be, who's God? The Jewish God, the Muslim God, the Hindu God, the liberal Methodist Church God, the Presbyterian Church God, the God worshipped at, say, perhaps the most reformed church in Chattanooga, Barron Hills Presbyterian Church, the most faithful, doctrinally faithful church in Chattanooga. Is it that God? Well, you don't want to have to deal with those questions, and the Supreme Court has said government cannot sift among religious presuppositions and doctrines. It can't. So it has to be neutral. And the whole problem there is that if you reject God or reject God because you can't decide which one you're talking about, you have to create an alternative deity. And that deity, of course, is the state. It is a kind of default deity, and the state has all the answers. In the state, man is at his very best. Man, through the state, is at his acme, his highest point of organization, his highest point of rational thinking. And ethics flow from, in the end, state necessity, right? Compelling state interest. That's the legal doctrine to which I'm referring in the legal realm is called compelling state interest. And compelling state interest and state security, if you go beyond that into the realm of national government and the defense industry, that is further fleshing out that concept. State security, national security, and no telling what kind of sins in secular governments here and across the Atlantic Ocean, what kind of sins have been committed in the name of state security. Now, Rhonda Thurman in her piece has a good quote in the end. It makes your point very well. It's from 1888 from a writer in Swansea, Massachusetts. She doesn't provide the name in her essay, but she said she's quoting this writer saying, "We have fine schoolhouses, competent teachers, faultless textbooks, yet very indifferent scholars. We need the cooperation of the parents. If at home children have learned the lessons of obedience, if they have been taught the value of education, and if they have been encouraged to study, their relation to the teacher in the school will be pleasant and their progress in study will be positive. If, however, children at their firesides are permitted to sit in judgment over the faults of the teacher and to discuss his lack of ability to maintain order, if they are encouraged to in acts of disobedience and irregular attendance, the teacher's task will be a laborious one and school nearly worthless. Let parents cooperate with the teacher in these well-meant, well-directed efforts." And here you see the main problem. The main problem is the flow of the directive. The directive is that the parents should look toward the school as the master and the place where knowledge and virtue are learned and inculcated, and to help the teacher, to speak well of the teacher. He is well-intentioned after all, and his lessons are well-meant. And so let us help him. And so you can see the limits on Rhonda Thurman's perspective. If that is her argument, and it's a very good one, yes, but it's limited. And what is the larger context? And I've got some important announcements I want you to tune into here on 927, and sponsors of my show, the Daily Tool Show, whom I want you to thank. I want you to thank my sponsors for having me on the air every day. Thank them and patronize their businesses. The problem, if I can sort of cut through the premises I've sort of proposed here, and I've not tied them all up. The problem is that we don't have in any of these reforms Unifi-Ed or Chattanooga 2.0, and make sure you read the column by Jared Bigham this morning. We don't have a free market perspective. There's not a liberty and freedom perspective. What is proposed are adjustments in administration, maybe the use of transportation systems to move children about. That's called busing. That's sort of in view in the Apex report, though in a veiled way. And April Edson pulls that out very, very, not say violently from the report. Saying, hey, what's being proposed here is buzzing. And I got a call yesterday from an important Christian, well-meaning man, a very fine man who's very concerned about this whole thing, the sort of leftward political slant. Well, the problem is not that the organizers of Unifi-Ed are political leftists. That's not the problem, as I see it. The problem is more fundamental, and that is that these groups want the fruit of the free market, and the administration which rejects it a priori, right? That rejects the free market and liberty and free movement from the very beginning. So how can we have the fruit of the free market if we have continuing a bureaucratic Leviathan in the middle of our society here in Hamilton County? David Tourist, now I got my important messages.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
Lake Winnie got a warning citation for taking